Clive.
OK, Darren, thank you for that. Darren Bett. That's it. You can keep up with all the latest developments, of course, on the BBC website, but the news continues here on BBC One as we join our colleagues across the nations and the regions for all the news where you are. Bye for now.
The headlines on Reporting Scotland this Monday lunchtime. First Minister Humza Yousaf says he sees no reason to suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP. His comments come after Nicola Sturgeon was arrested, then subsequently released without charge by police investigating SNP finances. Hello there, good afternoon. The First Minister has rejected calls to suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP. Yesterday, the former First Minister was arrested and released without charge as part of a police investigation into the funding and finances of the party. Well, our political correspondent Andrew Kerr joins us now. And Andrew, the First Minister seems to be holding firm on this. Andrew Kerr, thank you very much for the analysis. Thank you. A 31-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of rape following a police investigation in the Cove area of Aberdeen. The incident happened at a property on Charleston Road North on Saturday evening. Police said inquiries are ongoing. Now elsewhere, Scotland's first electric-powered heavy goods vehicle has started making regular trips delivering whisky. Chivas Brothers has begun a 2-year trial transporting casks between its bottling plant near Dumbarton to a warehouse in Beath. The vehicle's manufacturer says more will appear on the roads for other organisations in the coming months. Our environment correspondent Kevin Keane has this report. Grieving families are urging the NHS to do more to stop vulnerable patients leaving wards and putting themselves in danger. A BBC Scotland investigation has uncovered more than 6,000 cases of missing patients from NHS facilities in the last 5 years. The Scottish Government says there's a balance to be struck between protecting patients and the right to liberty. Well, we'll have more on the story at 6:30 tonight, but for now it's time to take a look at your weather forecast. Here's Kirstine.
Good afternoon to you. We've had some lovely, very warm sunshine again across much of the country this morning. Plenty of sunshine to come with a high of around 27 Celsius.
And that's all from us for now, but Laura Miller will be here from our brand new set with all your news during Reporting Scotland at 6:30 tonight. Join us for that. Bye-bye.
Ask Clive.
Thank you very much. Well, all this rain is not dampening the spirits here. You can watch the parade on BBC News. It starts at 7 o'clock this evening. But right now it's time for the news where you are. Goodbye.
Tonight on Reporting Scotland, Humza Yousaf stands by his predecessor. The First Minister says he will not suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP following her arrest and release in connection with the investigation into the party's funding and finances.
Do you think she should be suspended from the SNP?
Yes, I do.
Humza's got a lot to think about, so, there's other more important things to be done.
Also tonight, the grieving mum whose vulnerable daughter was able to walk out of her hospital ward.
There needs to be more staff. The staff need to be trained better. They need to be more compassionate, and maybe they need to be looked after better so that they can look after their patients better.
Samantha's daughter Jade was found dead 11 days later. The Health Board has given the family a full apology. The country's first battery-powered HGV begins making deliveries of whisky.
And coming up in the sport, a former Scotland manager says the team's victory over Spain will terrify future opponents ahead of this weekend's European Championship qualifier against Norway.
Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Monday's programme. Nicola Sturgeon won't be suspended from the party she led for almost 9 years, says First Minister Humza Yousaf. This despite calls from within the SNP for her to be suspended or voluntarily step aside. It follows the former First Minister's arrest and release yesterday by police investigating the funding and finances of the party. Here, with all the day's developments, is our political correspondent David Wallace-Lockhart. So, what precedent is there for prominent SNP members being suspended while allegations against them are looked at? Well, Colin Beattie stepped down as the party's treasurer after he was arrested and released without charge. Humza Yousaf says Mr Beattie is innocent until proven guilty. He remains an SNP MSP. Alex Salmond resigned his membership after he was investigated over sexual harassment claims. He was cleared in a criminal trial but never returned to the SNP and now leads the rival Alba party. Others have also willingly given up their party affiliation, like the former MP Natalie McGarry, who was jailed for embezzlement. At the time, Nicola Sturgeon said her resigning the whip during the police investigation was the right thing to have done. But resignations are not always voluntarily. Consider Margaret Ferrier. She lost the SNP whip after admitting she breached coronavirus laws back in 2020. So, what do some people in Nicola Sturgeon's Glasgow South constituency want to happen to her SNP membership? OK, well, let's take stock of all of this now with David Wallace-Lockhart. Is it a surprise, David, that Humza Yousaf is backing Nicola Sturgeon?
I don't think it is, no. The pair are close political allies. Yousaf has to oversee at the moment. OK, David, thank you. Well, there's been political drama at Westminster too in the wake of Boris Johnson's resignation as an MP. This is over the report looking into whether he misled MPs about parties during lockdown in Number 10. In a resignation letter, Boris Johnson was also critical of his successor, Rishi Sunak. Today, the Prime Minister responded. Well, let's get more on this now from our Westminster correspondent, David Porter. David, this is linked to Boris Johnson's resignation honours list. OK, David Porter at Westminster, thank you. A hospital ward, a place of safety that also needs to be secure for the patient and in some cases for others. Well, now a BBC investigation has looked at the number of patients who wander out of hospital wards. From the health boards who replied to us, that number stood at 6,493. And nearly all health boards don't record how many absconding patients are treated for their mental health. Jade McGrath went missing from her ward. She went on to take her own life. Her mum Samantha wants more to be done to keep patients safe. Gordon Blackstock has been speaking to her. Jade McGrath's mum Samantha ending that report from Gordon Blackstock. Now, some of the day's other stories now. Homicides here have fallen to their lowest level since the 1970s. Police Scotland say that 48 were recorded in the 12 months up until April, compared to 52 the previous year. Figures released today also show a fall in the number of assaults on police officers. A 31-year-old man has been charged with attempted murder and serious sexual assault of a woman in Cove near Aberdeen. The incident happened around 9:15 on Saturday evening. Police activity at the scene is continuing. Now, CalMac's boss is in South Uist at the moment to hear directly from people who are angry about the ferry operator's decision to cancel sailings to Malig for the rest of this month. And our reporter Katie Hunter is just back from covering this story in South Uist. Katie, just remind us why the service has been dropped.
Well, the service that normally covers the South Uist.
Yeah, of course. OK, thank you very much, Katie. Now, tonight's main news again. First Minister will not suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the SNP following her arrest and release in connection with an investigation into the party's funding and finances.
And coming up in the sport, a former Scotland manager says the team's victory over Spain will terrify future opponents ahead of this weekend's European Championship qualifier against Norway. Now, it looks like any other lorry, but this is actually the first electrically powered one that's making regular deliveries here. Distillers Chivas Brothers are now using it to take whisky from their bottling plant near Dumbarton to a warehouse in North Ayrshire. Here's our environment correspondent, Kevin Keane.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Amy Irons over here in your new home, in our new surroundings.
New home, Laura, but still the same team.
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. And we're talking Scotland.
We certainly are. It doesn't feel like that long ago, does it, since that iconic victory that Scotland recorded over Spain. So there's a real buzz around the men's national side, and we've got a big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, good.
Thanks very much. Hello there. With still 5 days to go until Scotland resume their bid to reach next year's Euros. But the build-up has begun, with former national team manager Alex McLeish saying countries are now terrified of facing Steve Clarke's side. Finally, boxing, and Josh Taylor insists he won't quit the sport, but says he might have to move up in weight as the Scot reflects on his world title fight to Teofimo Lopez in New York. Well, you heard it there, Laura. He will be back. It's obviously tough to take for Josh, you know, his first defeat in 20 professional bouts. But
absolutely. Sounded positive enough, though. OK, thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Well, now it's over to Laura and Nick to find out what's happening on the BBC Scotland channel at 9 o'clock.
Tonight, more reaction as SNP leader Humza Yousaf says he won't suspend Nicola Sturgeon from the party.
Island communities have been crying out for more engagement with CalMac. We will speak to one of the people who met the ferry company.
And from the red carpet of her new movie in London, we hear from Hollywood A-lister Jennifer Lawrence.
Join us at 9.
OK, let's get tonight's weather now. Here's Chris.
Good evening. It's been a warm or very warm start to the week for many parts of the country, with some sunshine and temperatures for some in the mid to high 20s. That's the forecast for now.
Now tonight's main news again. Nicola Sturgeon won't be suspended from the SNP, says Humza Yousaf. It follows the arrest and release of the former First Minister yesterday by police investigating SNP funding and finances. The BBC has found there have been over 6,000 cases of patients leaving hospital wards here in the past 5 years. And the boss of CalMac has met residents of South Uist who are angry at the ferry operator's decision to cancel sailings to Malig for the rest of this month. And that's it, reporting Scotland. I will be back with your late news at 10:30 tonight. Until then, from everyone in the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.
Less humid. There you go, Hugh.
Well, that's good. Louise, thank you very much once again. Louise Lear there with the weather for us. That's BBC News at 10 on Monday, the 12th of June. More analysis of the day's main stories on Newsnight, which is presented tonight by Victoria in London and our colleague Kirsty, who's in Glasgow with the latest on developments there. That's just getting underway on BBC Two. Here on BBC One, well, it's our colleagues in the nations and regions standing by with the news where you are. But for now, from all of us on the 10 team, thanks for watching and good night.
Good evening. Nicola Sturgeon won't be suspended from the SNP, says the First Minister Humza Yousaf, despite calls from within the party for her to be suspended or voluntarily step aside. The former First Minister was arrested and released yesterday by police investigating the funding and finances of the party. Here's our political correspondent, David Wallace-Lockhart. A BBC investigation has found there have been more than 6,000 cases of patients wandering out of hospital wards here in the last 5 years. Gordon Blackstock reports. Gordon Blackstock reporting there. People in South Uist have been demanding answers from the Chief Executive of CalMac about cancelled ferry services. It follows a meeting with islanders who face a month without sailings from Malig. Robbie Drummond says there will be a formal review into the system that decides how and when ferries are distributed. OK, now let's take a look at the weather with Callum McCall. Hello.
Hi Laura, hello there folks. So it was indeed the hottest day of the year so far. At Threave and Dumfries and Galloway, the mercury rose to and increasingly warm highs of 27 in the west. Anyway, that's it for me. That's you up to date. No weather front.
And that's it. Bye for now.
What does it take to become a Scottish football icon?